So today's video is going to be a little bit different than any of the usual content that I put out here on the YouTube channel. Different than my normal commentaries and my news videos and any sort of reviews that I come out with. Today's video is really just going to be a little bit of me sitting down and talking with you about one general topic. And, there's three main things in this video that I do want to discuss. It concerns the state of Save the World and, the current state of the game, the community as a whole and their general reaction to everything going on. And I, would like to discuss myself as well. And I want to go ahead and get that part out of the way before we, deep dive into everything else. I sincerely want to apologize to everybody that has watched one of my more recent videos. And it's pretty easy to tell. It's pretty easy to tell what video it was. I acted like a complete immature child in that video. And I just want to apologize to anybody that, I made angry or anybody that watched that video and thought less of me. I just apologize. I acted like a complete asshole, and basically in that video, I read the roadmap, I was really impressed by what I saw, and basically my mentality in that video was, if you don't agree with me, you can piss off. And that was probably the most immature thing I think I've probably ever said in recent time, and I'm sorry. And I completely recognize that I've been a complete, asshole in that video, and, you don't have to forgive me. I just want to recognize it and just say that I apologize, and I will do better. Just as a content creator, it's a learning experience. There's plenty of stuff that I do that isn't perfect, and that's just kind of how everything goes, with anybody. And so I do apologize for that. It's not like I'm going to cover it up or hide it or just not talk about it. I wanted to just go ahead and tell you guys that, because I really feel bad about that video, and just feel like that was terrible of me to do. So I do apologize. But segueing from that, the reason that a lot of people really took that, very negatively is because of the way that the current state of the game is looking. Fortnite Save the World. Fortnite Chapter 2 was something that was touted to be a pretty big update for Fortnite in general. As you guys know, if you look at Battle Royale, they have a lot of really good stuff coming. Well, not coming, they already have it. A completely new map, revamped weapons, different mechanics such as hiding in, trash cans and hiding in different areas, being able to fish, carry teammates. It's just all sorts of little things, and a complete graphics update. There's a lot of stuff that's gone on with Fortnite Chapter 2 to the point where there was a huge PR stunt done by Epic Games where the game was just a complete black hole for over 2 days, and we even live streamed this over on Twitch. Nobody knew what was going on. It was a big deal. It was a big deal, and because of this big deal, there was a lot of expectations for Save the World at launch. And Save the World, when servers came on, for one, wasn't even the first thing that you saw. Whenever you did turn on your game, the first thing that you actually got thrown into was Battle Royale, which was kind of a slap in the face to Save the World players. The first thing you do when you log into Fortnite is play Battle Royale, no matter what. You had to do it. And I know if any of you guys logged in that you experienced that. Of course, after either losing, winning, or killing yourself in that match, then you were able to go, move on to Save the World. And then whenever you logged on, you saw, well, pretty much the exact same game as it's been since last season. The only new stuff that we got, according to the roadmap, and we didn't even get patch notes, is we got a Fortnightmare Soldier, which is JonesyBot, Plague Dr. Igor, which is one of the worst heroes in the game, an AFK/leeching system, which is something that we've needed for a while, granted, and the Wild West Llamas, which are just recycled content. And this put the Save the World community in a huge uproar, beyond anything that we've seen, I think, up until this point, because season 9 was pretty mediocre. I think we all agree. It was okay. It wasn't bad. It was a mediocre season. Season X, possibly in the top 2 for the worst seasons that we've ever had. In terms of new content, I would probably put Fortnitemares 2 next to Season X in terms of what was the worst. And then, after all this build-up, we find our way going into Season 11, aka Fortnite Chapter 2. The servers have been down for 2 days. There's been nothing but a black hole. We're waiting to see the new reveal. And there's nothing at launch for Save the World. Now, for me as a player, this didn't surprise me. I am somebody that has known that ever since Season 6, the 6.20 or the 7.20, 8, 9, 10, 11.20 update is always when Save the World gets the majority of its content. Anything before that is just kind of whatever, right? It's content no matter what we get normally. Most of the time, it doesn't really mean all that much, and it's just kind of there to tide us over until the 0.20 update. So whenever I looked at it, I really didn't care, because looking ahead in the roadmap, I saw some content that's coming to the game that I personally as a player have been waiting for over 2 years. I've been waiting for over 2 years for this kind of content. A raid-like activity, the Mythic Storm King, the hardest activity in the game that the devs are saying. And if they're saying that, then they know for a fact that they're hyping this thing up. And I really hope that they understand that, they're going to have to deliver on this. Mythic weapons that are only earnable through that activity. And you can't even drop it to other people. You have to earn these mythic weapons via this activity. You have to play it. This is a raid, more or less, very similar to a raid activity. Aside from that, we have dungeons that are coming. If you guys have watched my most recent video, this is something that, again, most PvE games, especially MMORPGs, have dungeons, DC Universe, Elder Scrolls Online, World of Warcraft. And dungeons are really cool, very similar to Destiny Strikes, just repeatable content for specific rewards. This is something we've needed outside of normal missions. Gameplay adjustments to, shake up the entirety of the meta, as far as Husk AI is concerned, as far as hero ability damage, which has been needed for over half a year. And stuff like the trap meta, kind of being examined, because there's no reason to use anything aside from gas traps at this point. And lastly, they talk about the locker completion, and the locker is something that really disappointed me in the fact that we couldn't get this by Season X, and now it's spilling over into Season 11. The sooner that this thing gets done, the better. And if they don't get it done, I'm actually going to be pretty mad. The roadmap as a whole was great. It was really, really, really good. But where did Epic Games go wrong with this roadmap? They went wrong with the launch of Chapter 2. That spiraled people into an uproar, right? It spiraled people into a complete uproar. And that's how the game is. That's how the game is right now. That's how the community is right now. I can say that, yeah, you are very much allowed to be annoyed. You're allowed to be disappointed. You're allowed to be angry. One thing that I did say in my video, it's kind of the only thing that I was really applying my sentiment to, was I just don't think anybody at this point in the game should be acting toxic the way that Reddit has been, to the point of trash talking developers, to the point of just completely spitting on the game and just talking the worst possible things on Reddit. And that's how the majority of the community is. I just don't feel as though that is something that this game needs right now. That is not the stuff that is going to help the situation at hand. I want to show you guys a quick clip, because I was just recently on a podcast with upwards of like 20 different creators called the Commander Cast. And this was put together by Cheksky and Chedik. And I was on this podcast for upwards of about 4 to 6 hours. And Magist and Dave the Buck themselves even showed up to this podcast and gave their own input on what we had been talking about for all those hours. I'm going to go and show a clip really quick.
He's entered the building.
What's up, everybody? How's it going?
Hello.
Oh! It's Magist!
Yeah, it's me, man. So I wanted to take the opportunity to thank all you guys for putting this together. This was an awesome thing to see. All of you guys have such an awesome voice, and to hear and see all the stuff you guys have put together is fantastic. So what I'm really hoping to do is, obviously this one was a long one. We're going to be grabbing this one. We're going to be parsing through a lot of the stuff. We're going to be putting the feedback that you guys have been given here to the devs, and we're going to let everybody kind of parse through it. So a few devs have been listening, not a lot. Everybody's super busy, but I do thank you guys for putting the time together. And this has been great, man. I listen to this most of the time at work, on the way back home from work. This has been an awesome experience. So thank you guys for taking the time to put this together.
Thank you.
Great.
Thank you.
Oh my god, that was awesome.
Yeah.
That was awesome. And
Yeah,
can I point out that Magist does not sound anything like I thought he would sound? And
That's the first time you heard his voice too?
I've met him and he doesn't sound like that. I don't know what he's got.
He looks.
He sounds different.
Is Dave gonna get something to say too? Come on, let Dave say something.
Yeah, Dave's in here now.
I think Dave's muted.
Dave, unmute yourself, baby girl.
Hey, Dave.
Yeah, there's Dave. There's Dave.
I agree with everything Matt just said.
They sound the same. And that right there, that whole situation right there, really inspired this video for the most part, because I just wanted to talk about how moving that entire situation was, for just the entirety community, really. That entire podcast was centered around constructive criticism and valid feedback. And we talked about this topic that I'm talking about right now as well. And, I just kind of want to talk about this in a sense that I'm kind of disappointed in the community at the moment with how toxic they are being. I feel as though you can be disappointed and you can be mad and you can be very annoyed at the situation, but I feel as though you should give Epic Games the chance to really show what they can do, because in this roadmap, right, we're seeing some of the greatest content we've ever seen. And, a lot of people in this community were expecting a lot of this kind of stuff at launch, and of course we didn't get it. And I feel as though if Epic Games would have kind of communicated with us and let us know ahead of time about this kind of thing, that the situation wouldn't be so out of hand like it is. And a reason that I don't think that they did that was because of the black hole PR stunt, in the sense that if they would have given a heads up for Save the World players, that it would kind of ruin the whole mirage that a lot of people thought that, Fortnite was ending. And that would kind of ruin their PR stunt, because a lot of people would have been like, hey, Save the World is getting an update right after this, so guaranteed Fortnite's coming back up, And I feel like that was kind of out of the Save the World team's hands, and it's really unfortunate that it kind of put us in this situation. There's another thing that I feel like the player base is ignoring for the most part, and it's really at the bottom of the roadmap. It's at the top if you look on Reddit now, but it's a quote that says, "You will notice this is a lighter update than usual for the 0.0 release for Save the World. We're shifting to a less frequent cadence, but aiming for more meaningful updates as a result. This allows us to diverge from shifting features around the Battle Pass launches and release them in a more polished state." Basically, what this means is that the Save the World team is not on the same schedule that Battle Royale is. They don't have to come out with a bulk of content the same time that Battle Royale does, and because of this, because they're not doing this anymore, they're hoping to make the content more polished and better as a result of it. And because of this message right here, my main thing to the community and what I'd like to get across is that at least give Epic Games until 11.20. I know a lot of us have been waiting, and I honestly know that a lot of us are really annoyed with all this waiting. But I do gotta say that because of that message, because of this, and they're talking about polished content and more meaningful content, if they underdeliver on 11.20, from this point out, I 100% am with the community and with everybody, no matter what reaction they have. If it's toxic, if it is criticizing the game heavily, if it's being angry, rioting, whatever you want to do, right? I could totally understand that kind of mentality if 11.20 is a garbage update and something that's bad. We have been waiting for a very long time to see anything that is going to be of any sorts of substance, And Epic Games comes out and they say things like this. They say that we are no longer on Battle Royale's schedule and we are going to be working at our own pace. I mean, it's obvious. The Save the World team isn't as big as the BR team, therefore they can't give us as much as they can, right? And this is a whole nother topic that we can talk about in another video concerning that specifically, but I just want to say that right there, that statement I just read is something big. And if we give into it and we kind of give them the chance, the one chance that they have to prove to us that that is how it's going to be from this point on, where we're going to get that meaningful content and that content that's going to actually be good and polished. If we give them that one chance, I feel as though that's completely fair. Because I feel like the launch of Chapter 2, Season 11, was completely out of the Save the World team's hands. They couldn't let us know ahead of time what was going on because it would have interrupted the PR stunt that's going on. And regardless of that, I feel like the toxicity in general on Reddit is just something that is completely unwarranted. You can criticize the game like we did on Commander Cast. There's nothing wrong with constructive criticism and well put together feedback, but the point where you're trash talking people who are working on the game, you're not doing anybody in the community a favor whatsoever. And we've, going back to that previous statement, we've already seen a case of the Save the World team working and doing really great things with that final statement, which has given me a little bit of hope. Here's a post by Magus just yesterday, and it says, the leeching hotfix, and this concerns problems that were with the AFK system. He says this. He says, hello everyone, we wanted to give everyone a heads up that we just released a hotfix to tone down how restrictive leeching is in its certain circumstances. And we've seen some cases where players may be over-restricted in matches and not receiving rewards. And even when properly participating, the fix is currently being applied and should be fully released to all players over the next hour. And additionally, we're going to be removing the leeching penalty from private and friend matches in 11.10. This change will no longer penalize players with friends, lower level streamer, viewers, etc. as long as the match is private. We're continuing to monitor the system, and we'll make adjustments as needed to ensure that, the system has rewards, blah, blah, blah. Now, this is something that was fantastic because a lot of people on Reddit were already, discussing the AFK leech system and all that kind of stuff, and a lot of, issues with it. And Dave the Buck responded to somebody, letting them know that they were working on it. Magus immediately came out with a post right after that, and then there was an update that came out which completely fixed one of the big issues with it. And we don't normally see hot fixes like this, immediately right after community feedback. It's very rare that we see this kind of stuff. And so it gives a little bit of truth to that final statement that they're trying to get things more polished and that they're no longer on BR's update system and, all that kind of stuff. Basically, I just want to end this video off and say this. I feel as though the community being toxic is a completely unneeded and something that is completely unhelpful to everybody that wants this game to succeed and wants to see it do well. The toxic nature doesn't help. You're completely entitled to be angry and mad and to be disappointed. I 100% agree. But at the end of the day, because of that last sentence that they gave, because of this whole leeching hotfix that's been, thrown out, because of the success of the Commander cast with people from Epic Games watching and the, community coordinator and manager joining in on it because it was nothing but constructive feedback and stuff that was good for the game instead of just trash talking it, all I ask is that you guys at least give Epic Games until 11.20. It wasn't their fault that Chapter 2 was such a disaster when it launched, and I 100% agree with that. They couldn't let us know ahead of time, and I highly doubt that they have enough employees on their staff to even get this kind of content out on launch if they even wanted to. This is content we've asked for upwards of 2 years, and if I have to wait a little bit for it, I'm completely fine with that. We're going to be getting some quest lines. We got the AFK system. We're getting like 2 new weapons and 3 new heroes. Fortnite is coming back. The dungeon system's coming. And we're getting a lot of stuff up until that major content release. So I don't feel like everything is doom and gloom. And I do understand any frustrations that the community has. But, I know that this video will probably still get dislikes and still get a lot of hate regardless. But I do want to come out with this video and just say, wait until 11.20. If 11.20 is something that is a huge disappointment, everybody is entitled to react to it however they want. And it's completely justified. But right now, the way the community has acted in such a toxic nature for the most part is not helping the situation that this game needs to get better over time. It's just not helping at all, But that's pretty much it I really wanted to talk about. I wanted to talk about the state of the game, the way the community was acting, and as well apologize for my recent actions because, as I said, I've been a complete jerk-off on the internet, and I just wanted to apologize for that. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much it for the video. I do apologize if this was a really long video, and if you did make it to the end, here's my personal thank you for, at the very least, listening to everything that I had to say. So I definitely do appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for watching the video, and yeah, I will see you guys next time. We should be covering a pretty interesting topic in tomorrow's video for any of you guys that are interested in that.